Hey YouTube, Morgan here, and welcome back to my kitchen. Today I'm going to be doing another quiche recipe. I do have a quiche recipe on my channel already, but this one's a little bit different because it is low carb friendly. So this is going to be a crustless quiche. You may hear some sizzling in the background. I'm already hard at work getting the filling put together or prepped. I've got bacon already fried up. In the leftover bacon grease, I'm caramelizing some red onions. I've also got my oven preheated to 400, and I am currently roasting some asparagus and broccoli stems. I'm saving the crowns for another recipe, but I don't want those stems to go to waste, and I made this recipe probably about a week or two ago and used the broccoli stems, and it was fantastic, so I'll probably never throw those away again. Quiche is a really great way to use up what's in your fridge that you need to go through before it goes bad. I'm also going to be adding some diced ham that I bought a couple weeks ago. I don't want that to spoil, so I'm throwing that in there as well. And I'll be adding some Swiss cheese, cheddar cheese, and some sun-dried tomatoes because I know my husband really likes those, so I'm going to toss a few of those in there too. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up the filling, and then I'll be back with you when it's time to make the base of the quiche, and we will hopefully have this wrapped up pretty shortly. Alright, my onions are still caramelizing back there. It does take a little bit of patience to get those the way I want them. I did want to make a note that a lot of people think you need to add sugar to your caramelized onions, but you absolutely do not have to do that. I just seasoned mine with a little pepper and a little salt, and they should be absolutely delicious. And I want them to be about the color of a dirty mop, which seems gross, but once you taste a caramelized onion that has taken its time and really caramelized slowly, you can really get those sugars coming out, and they're really nice. So I'll go ahead and get the rest of this assembled, and we can just put those basically on top before we add the cheese. One thing I want to make note, I did butter this really well. You can kind of see that especially around the edges, but I have gone up the sides with butter too. Even though we're not using crust, you really want to make sure that you get this nice and buttered so that your quiche doesn't stick to the plate. And we'll go ahead and start with the ham. I'm just going to try to spread this in a nice even layer in the bottom. By the way, I can see you might be noticing this butter I have here. Ignore that for now. I'm actually going to be shooting another video tonight. So if you want to see how to make low-carb, diabetic-friendly fudge, definitely hit that subscribe button. I'm going to be coming out with that video pretty soon. I'm really excited about that recipe. I've been having a sweet tooth so bad, and I have a hard time varying my options when it comes to sweets. So I was really excited to find that recipe online. Alright, this is looking pretty good. I've got it pretty well evenly distributed, so there's not a ton in one area. You're going to get some ham in every bite. Let me rinse my hands off and we'll get the bacon. And we're going to do the same thing here. I'm just going to evenly distribute this among the bottom. I did fry this bacon up pretty crispy to begin with so that I could crumble it. But you can leave it a little bit on the softer side if you want. It will continue to cook as the quiche cooks. It just won't get browned as I had it on the stove. Looks good. Next I'll get our roasted veggies. Here I've got the asparagus and the broccoli stems. I covered these in olive oil, seasoned them with pepper and a little bit of seasoned salt. And these are ready to go in. I roasted them for about 15 minutes on 400. And by the way, I did turn the oven down, so now it's only at 350. And I've given it plenty of time to cool off before I actually put the quiche in. I don't want the top of the quiche to get too brown before the inside of it cooks. So 350 for the quiche. And by the way, you can add anything into this quiche that you want. If you wanted to make it a meat lovers, you could absolutely do that. I've also got some breakfast sausage and some pulled pork and some chicken in the fridge I could have thrown in here. If you wanted to do a vegetarian option, you can add literally whatever you want. You can do mushrooms, squash. I put carrots in here last time, and that was absolutely delicious. So that's really the fantastic thing about quiche. If you can get a lot of eggs, you can pretty much put whatever you want in here. I don't think I've mentioned this yet, but I am going and stirring the onions every once in a while. I don't want them to get too overdone. Let's go ahead and add the sun-dried tomatoes. These have been draining on this paper towel because I bought the kind that come in olive oil, so they are pretty oily when you first get them out of the jar. Let's try to get this evenly distributed a little bit better. Seeing this like this reminds me you could put roasted red bell peppers in here. I mean, literally whatever you want to add, I'm sure would be absolutely delicious. Spinach, kale, whatever you've got on hand. I think the onions are almost done. Let me go check on those and I'll bring those over and we can get this wrapped up. So here are how those red onions turned out. I think they look great. There are a few in here that are just a little bit lighter than I would like to see them, and they won't be quite as sweet as these ones that are a little bit darker brown, but they will add a nice little crunchy textural element to the dish. These are still really hot, so I'm gonna be careful. I literally just took them off. Ooh, that's hot. I'm gonna get my fork. Those are still too hot for my fingers. I don't know if you can hear Ian in the background playing video games, but I think he's playing Fallout. Chief, what are you licking? Alright, I think that looks pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and add one of these slices of cheese. Actually, let's see how much this will cover, because I want to have some Swiss on the top. I think I'll probably just save that. I'll add some cheddar onto this stuff. And once we get the filling of the quiche ready, then we're ready to mix together the base of the quiche, which is really just eggs and some dairy products. And by the way, I will be posting a link to the recipe in the description, but I'm really just using that for the base of the quiche to get my measurements, to get my proportions right and the time and the temperature of baking. But I will make a note, because this happened last time I made it. I filled with more fillings than what's recommended. They give you like half a cup of broccoli and bacon. I can't remember what else in it, but I definitely remember broccoli and bacon's in there. And they give you measurements. Well, you saw me add this in here. I didn't measure anything. It's probably going to be more than what's recommended, so it may take just a little bit longer to bake than what's on the recipe, but if you follow the recipe exactly, hopefully it'll be pretty close. It's not too late right now. It's about 6 o'clock, so it should be ready pretty close to 7:30 if I had to guess. And that's not terrible, so let me get this out of the way, clean up my area a little bit, and I will show you how to make the base. The first thing I'm going to add is 2/3 of a cup of whole milk. This is actually lactose-free milk because it's carb-friendly, and there is also some half and half in this recipe. I only have heavy cream, not half and half, so I could use some of this to make half and half. It's just half cream, half milk, but because I don't have a whole lot of this dairy-free milk left, and I want to save that for drinking, especially because I'm making fudge later, I'm just going to use the heavy cream. It should be fine. Before I mix all that together, I want to get some mustard put into here, because last time I made this, it didn't quite mix in well. I just had a clump of mustard I kind of had to spread around. So let me go get a teaspoon of Dijon. I'll get that mixed into the milk. Again, not doing a great job measuring. I'm just kind of eyeballing it. That's probably about a teaspoon, a little bit more. And I'll use my fork to mix that up. Part of the reason why it didn't mix up well last time is probably because I used this country Dijon, which has like whole grains in it, or it's ground up pretty coarsely, so that's probably why, but I'm making sure that's really nice and mixed this time, and then I can get my half and half added. It's going to be hard to measure out 2/3 plus a quarter, so I'm going to go ahead and dump this into my bowl. And I've gathered up 6 eggs. I'm going to add these to my dairy mixture. I don't know if you can hear the background now, but that's Bruce Buffer. Derek Lewis is fighting tonight. I've been waiting so long. So I'm trying to have this done before he goes on. Should be done in plenty of time. And I'm going to get these well combined with the milk and the cream. You can see the mustard seeds in the mixture, so this is mixed up much better than it was last time. Last time I mixed everything, added the mustard in at the end, and then poured it in, and I saw that clump of mustard fall out and thought, oh no. It ended up being fine. It wasn't too strong, but honestly I couldn't really distinguish it last time, so that's part of the reason why I added a little bit extra this time. We still need some salt and pepper in this mixture, and also they recommend what is optional is nutmeg, so I'm going to go ahead and grab that out of my pantry as well, and we'll get this mixture finished up. I'm making a spur-of-the-moment decision. I'm also going to add a little curry powder. That's in my other quiche recipe, and I absolutely love the effect it has on the quiche. I just think it really adds a nice depth of flavor. And I'm going to eyeball my spices because I like to measure with my heart. It says a pinch of nutmeg. Let's see. That's about 1/8 teaspoon. I'm going to rub this in my hand a little bit to break up those clumps. It should be good. And a little bit of this curry powder. I'm going to break those clumps up again as well. Let's get this well mixed together. And I'm running a little low on battery, so just in case it dies, I'll go ahead and tell you. I'm going to finish mixing this up, pour it over the quiche, the filling, and then I'm going to put it in my 350-degree oven. It's going to take probably a little bit more than an hour just because of how much I filled this up. Oh, before I put it in, actually, I'm going to put the rest of this cheese and the Swiss cheese on there as well. Just try to pour this as evenly as we can. No clump of mustard, so yay. Already improvement over last time. And last time it turned out really great, so let me go ahead and get this topped with the cheese. I've got Swiss, I've got the ham in there, so I'm doing kind of like a little play on quiche Lorraine, but also with all the extra veggies and the bacon and everything else. I think this is going to be really good. Swiss is a really nice melting cheese. So that should be nice and gooey, and then I'm going to top it with my cheddar here, just for a little punch of flavor. We like to buy sharp cheddar, or if they've got extra sharp Tillamook, we'll buy that, but unfortunately my store usually doesn't have the extra sharp of the Tillamook. I'm dropping a little bit for the dogs too. And let's make sure we get nice even coverage with the cheese. And into the oven we go. Real quick note before I go plug my camera back in, I just put the quiche in and I looked at the recipe again, and it's not an hour, it's about 30 to 35 minutes. So I will update you once I take the quiche out, let you know about how long it actually took, and I will show you the finished product soon. Alright, it's been in the oven for about 35 minutes. I'm not quite sure it's done yet, but we're gonna go ahead and check it. It looks absolutely beautiful. It has puffed up a little bit, which is normal. I can't tell if that's just soft because of the grease. I'm gonna soak up some of that from the top here real quick. That's just because I put so much cheese on top. It should be firm, but still have a little bit of a jiggle to it in the middle. But the way that I was able to tell if it was done last time was by sticking my knife in it, so let me grab that. It also may be from all the butter that I put at the bottom too. I'm going to let it go for about 5 more minutes and check it again, but it's almost done. This is looking really good. Let's poke it again. I'm going to choose a spot right next to it. And I do not see any egg liquid. There's a little bit of probably butter or cheese grease that's coating my knife, but it's clear. If you still had some runny eggs, it would be a little bit on the whiter side. So I'm going to call this done. I'll let this sit and cool for probably about 10 to 15 minutes. We'll slice it up. One serving of this quiche is about 1/4 of it, so we'll each have dinner and then breakfast or lunch or dinner leftovers another day. And I'll probably eat mine with a little bit of hot sauce, but you can do salsa or you can eat it plain. It's absolutely delicious as is. Let's get this sliced up. I'm going to try to use my previous knife hole as part of the slice. Beautiful. I'm going to reach into my dishwasher before it's done and get my spatula out. Smells so good. Came out perfectly clean. And because I used so much butter on the bottom, it won't be that hard to wash because things didn't really stick to the bottom or the sides of the dish. So I'll leave this on the counter for probably another hour or so until it's cooled off enough to put in the fridge. We're gonna go ahead and enjoy this. I'm gonna get the hot sauce out of the fridge and we are going to enjoy dinner. I would really love to hear from you guys if you watch my video, so feel free to leave me a comment down below if you like this video and you want to see more like this. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up. If you know of anybody that's looking for low-carb recipes, don't forget to share my channel with them. I'm going to be doing this for the next 8.5, 9 weeks or so until I give birth, and after that I'll probably continue to do this at least a little bit because obviously what I was doing before is probably not healthy for me or my family. So I am going to continue doing these low carb meals. After I give birth, I'll probably throw in a little bit indulgent meals or snacks and things like that again. But if you are interested in seeing some more of my videos, or especially if you want to see me make low carb fudge or low carb devil's food cake, I've got those in the works. I've already got the chocolate for both of those. I'm super excited to have some more sweet treats in my arsenal for low carb diets. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you get notified when I have new videos out, and I hope to see you guys around next time. Bye guys!